Welcome everybody, my name is Jimmy and welcome back to Jimmy Does Knitting. This is my knitting podcast where we usually pick a topic and we go from there. Today it's going to be a test call and it's mostly going to be discussion about what I've knit for Christmas, what I'm knitting over Christmas, that sort of thing. And we will get into that. It's very exciting stuff. Before all that, you can catch me as Jimmy Does Knitting on Instagram and Ravelry. I have patterns out on Ravelry and I have a Ko-Fi, so if you would like to help me out on my knitting journey, that would be greatly appreciated. I am wearing the Flatten Genser by Briger. This is in Holst Supersoft black and Ecru. I used 2 cones for this. I figured this is a good sort of like wintry sweater. It's a bottom-up raglan with all over color work. It has this beautiful motif. I did hack this a little bit in terms of like color placement, so it appeared a little bit more dark, a little more black. I switched up the main color and contrast color, but pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And yeah, I like it a lot. I think it turned out really well and I'm pleased with it. And because it's color work, it's a little thicker and it's freezing up here, so that's nice. That is what I'm wearing. Thank you for everybody who signed up for my enigmatic test knit. That had the biggest response I've ever had to any test knit, and I'm really appreciative of that. And yeah, I'm excited. It's a generous test time. Let's see what happens. I tried a couple of new things with this in terms of like structuring a test knit, so we'll see how that goes. I'm very curious, but should be fine. It's a pretty straightforward pattern, all of it. So that is cool. First of all, let's talk about my next test knit. I know it's only been a week and I know you haven't actually seen this thing, but we're gonna go right into it and then I'm gonna do some modeling for you and then we'll get right back into some other stuff. So I made this. I had been experimenting with some swatching. Let me get my swatches. So I've been experimenting with woven swatches. And I did a bunch, but like these are some that I came up with, and then I wanted to do a herringbone pattern and I finally figured it out. So this is it done on Woolyknit British Guernsey, and this is the swatch. And then I decided that I wanted to take my stash. I had 3.5 plates of Manchelopis Azul, and that's by Wool Dreamers. I've used this. I bought this for the Oba sweater for my mom. I decided not to use it for that. And then I made 1 scarf out of it, 2 scarves out of it, 1. When I decided that it needed to be another shawl or scarf or something like that. So I used 2.5 of the 3.5 plates, I guess, for a new design. And that design is this. So it's really interesting. Maybe you can see the texture, maybe not, but like the difference between this really unspun yarn, which is like flat and doesn't really have a lot of things, and then the worsted weight, just sort of like a regular-ish spun yarn by Woolyknit. So that is the difference in this, but it's the same needle size, I think, and stitch count. So that's something to keep in mind. But I made this very long scarf hood thing. I like scarves. I'm not a big shawl knitter. I have obviously knit some shawls, but I'm a big scarf knitter because I want that like Lenny Kravitz scarf thing. Like for some reason that really excites me, but you need a pattern to really like keep it exciting enough. And I think this is it. But yeah, I have this really big long scarf, but it's one of those scarf hood things. And I will model this later, but let's just go through it. It's a herringbone stitch, so it's woven. I'm not sure how well this is coming up. It's woven, but then it like switches direction, like a herringbone. I think you can maybe see it on this better. Can you see this? So it switches direction, so you have a herringbone pattern, and you knit straight, you do some hood shaping, and then essentially you reverse all of that. And this took me about 2.5 plates of the Manchelopis. It was easy. It's not a hard knit, it's just knit in pearls, but it looks, I guess, more complicated and more elaborate. What I really like about this is the unspun is super warm and it has that, like, because of the woven texture, it just feels like you need to wrap yourself up in it. You have to. You don't have a choice. You have to. So I really like that. And then the hood. Now, this can also be worn as a regular scarf. You don't really need to do anything with that. So that is the plan for that. What I will say is that this is going to be called the Sandywell Scarf. And this will be the first in a series of Sandywell designs. At one point in the new year, February, March maybe, I'm going to put out a shawl version of this. But until then, whatever. So quick things about testing, and then I'll model it for you. This is going to be a really quick test. I think it's 6 weeks is what I've said. You don't have to use Manchelopis, you don't have to use unspun yarn, although it's highly recommended. You can use any worsted weight yarn in order to achieve this. Even if the gauge is a little bit different, it's all right because it's really mostly knit to a certain length. You know how a drop shoulder sweater is. So the gauge doesn't matter so much, but you definitely want a worsted weight, maybe Aran yarn, a thicker, chunkier, scarfy yarn. Link for that test will be below. I'm only going to accept 5-10 people. We'll see how many people sign up because I haven't really talked about this much. So I might get a lot of people, I might get no one. But so I'll do that. It's just going to be I'll send you the pattern, you knit it up, and then give me feedback, I don't know, right before it's released, that sort of thing. So this one's going to be a quickie. I mean, I knit this up super quick. I think I knit half of this in 2 days when I came back. So I know I'm a faster knitter and stuff, but it's really not that bad. I think that's all of the test stuff. Now, let me show you how I plan on wearing this. Welcome back. The sewing table is away, so I have a blank wall to deal with, but it's Amsterdam, so the lighting's terrible. We'll have to deal with it. So you can see a little bit better. I'm going to try to do the microphone here and the scarf at the same time. Let's see how successful I am about this. It's a pretty generous scarf length, but that's exactly what I want with this little hood thing. So how I have been wearing it or will wear it, I love this thing. I'm trying so hard not to actually wear this so it looks decent for pictures, and then I can wear it all I want. But here's what we do. I always sort of put my head in the middle, and it's very Virgin Mary at the moment, but it's all right. And it covers a decent amount. So what I wanted to do, I'm sorry about this sound quality. I hope this works out well. I usually put it somewhat on my head, and you see in the back, it covers your neck. And that was what was important to me, is that with the hood up and the flaps, I guess, down, that it covered the neck. And then you can wrap it how you want, depending on how cold you are or how stylish you are. I am not, but this is what we can do. So you can just wear it with one part over. You can even tuck it in. It has a nice balaclava look, and then enough to cover your neck still, and then a decent amount hanging. What I've been doing, because I'm cold, is I've been putting both back and really wrapping myself up. Let's see if I can do this. And so this is it wrapped up pretty tightly and then around, and it is so warm. You have good neck coverage, you have good head coverage, you have good ear coverage, and it's big enough for a face, even if you have a larger face than me. I think it works, and then it will fit under things. I mean, obviously depending on how you style it, but this is my preferred, but you can have a different preferred way, and that's fine. And then maybe the texture shows up a little bit nicer here. Do we see this? Are we getting enough Baba Yaga vibes? Are we doing babushka here? Are we really working it? I feel that old lady that just is sort of witchy and walks around and doesn't care and is just wrapped up in I don't know, some sort of mystic shawl or something. That is what I love. I understand that people are trendy and this is cool, but that's really not my vibe. I am not trendy and cool, despite the pink needle. But yeah. So this is it. I'm very excited about this. I would hope that you guys are too and that you want to test this. It's even better if you have the yarn in stash. This is a great like unspun stash buster. I think a lot of people get unspun yarn and then don't know what to do with it. And I think this is a really good one. So this in the shawl will be in the Manchelopis. I have some other plans. I don't know what that's going to be. Anyway, this is me modeling it and like slowly teasing you all. But let's get back into regular things and talk about Christmas. This is the test knit. Sign up below. I forgot to mention, you can just wear it like a regular scarf. That's a thing. And it looks fine. It doesn't really have any like bulge or anything. So if you want to just be regular scarf person because it's too hot or whatever, it also looks fine that way. All right. As I mentioned, I'm cold. We're going to keep Miss Sandywell on for now, and we will continue this podcast. But while we're talking about scarves, we will continue on with my scarf obsession, and I will show you my Brioche Adventure. This one I think is nearing the end, and let me tell you why. I don't know. So quick summary, this is the Brioche Adventure by Jonathan Tollow. I modified it to just be one color. It's meant for like an advent, so like 2-color brioche. I just did one color. And I did it with Holst Supersoft in the color black that was in my stash. And I just wanted to use some of this up and then have like a really easy brioche project. I also modified it by putting a 3.25 millimeter needle instead of a 3.5 millimeter. So really like minor things. And I've just been knitting it a lot when I've been oot and a boot. I knit on it a lot in Michigan and then some when I came home. And here's what we have. We have a decent amount. You can see. And it just has, you know, this brioche texture with some garter in between. It's nothing like groundbreaking by any means, but it's a good stash buster, like scarfy sort of knit. And I think it's going to look pretty. It's not really showing up on camera so much, but I've talked about this in the last like 3 or 4 episodes, so that's all right. What I plan on doing is I'm going to the UK for Christmas, so I think I'm going to bring this along because this is my most portable project at the moment. And what he did in the pattern is he has 12 of these stripes. Can you see this? Can you see these stripes? The 12 brioche bands to go with the 24 advent colors, basically, is what the thing is. And I think I'm on number 11 now. And I want this a little longer because as we discussed, I'm a big like Lenny Kravitz type of scarf person. I like a big scarf. And I, you know, at least want this as tall as me. How big is this now? It's like that big. I'm sitting down, so you don't really have great scale. But like it's a decent size. And I think that if I bring this on the plane into the UK and back, that I will get, I think I went like 13, 14 repeats of this scarf. And I think that I can definitely achieve that if I'm halfway through number 11 right now. I'll have like X amount of days to do stuff with. So I think that this will be finished. I'll finish it up after I come back. So I'll come back, I will finish whatever row I'm on, bind off, wash, and do all that. So that is the plan with that. What I wanted to show you, I did mark where I had it last time. I cannot find this. Where is it? It's a red marker. Okay, so in the last week, I've knit from here to here, which is about 2.5 repeats or so. So yeah, that's my plan for Christmas. This will be finished object 51 of the year, and it will be my last one that I'll be able to get done because the whips I have are just not anywhere near being able to be done by the end of the month. So I'll have that, and that's my Christmas knitting. It should be fine. Yeah. Next, let's go to, what I am bringing to Christmas and what I have gift knit. So some of you may know, I'm not a big gift knitter. I don't really knit Christmas presents or birthday presents or anything. I typically knit what I want. And then if I wear it, I wear it. If not, it goes into a bin and people can take it. The one exception is Mr. Does Knitting has stolen my Spectrum Blip scarf. I put it in, like, I have a box of samples of some of my designs. I put it in there. I went away last week and it's gone and it's around his neck, which I think is actually very nice. It's very flattering. I did that one reel about how he doesn't wear some of my stuff that I've knit him, but this one is something that he wears, even though I didn't really knit it for him. Anyway, I'm happy for it. And speaking of which, we're gonna follow that up, I think, in Finish It February, which is something Roxanne Richardson does. It's Finish It February, Fix It February. I'm gonna do a Fix It February, like, little vlog. I wanna make some tweaks on some sweaters and stuff I have, and one of them is a vest that I made him a while ago, but he does not like the neckline. And I knit that neckline like 3 or 4 times when I did it, so I was like, I'm never adjusting this for you ever again. But it's not a lot of work, and I know more about necklines now. Anyway, different story, different thing. What did I knit for gifts? This year was an exception, and I will tell you why once I pick up the projects from the ground. As I said, this year is an exception because I wanted to knit a Guernsey, and I wanted to knit a Guernsey with Guernsey wool from the UK, and my brother-in-law is very knitworthy, and he really wanted a Cornish one because he's from Cornwall, and he was like, I want one, I think it would be great, it'd be really cool. So he's hinted at it, but not really seriously. But I was like, this is my epic knit for the year. I like Guernseys, so I wanted to just draft my own and go for it and go through the whole process. So I did, and I have a whole vlog about it from beginning to end. You can check that out here somewhere. It's on the channel if you want to know more, but I haven't shown it on a regular podcast. So let's do that. So this was just an excuse to make a Guernsey, and it turned out very well. I really like it. I'm going to bring some yarn to Christmas just in case I need to adjust sleeve length or collar, because those are super easy and those are what I'm concerned about. The rest should actually be fine, but either way, it doesn't matter so much. So what I did is, it's a top down. It's a bottom up in the round, and then I did this little band that's traditional, and then I picked the musician stitch, and then I made my own spin on it with some really cool moss stitching. I have a gusset for the sleeves, and then I did a Yorkshire motif called the Betty Martin stitch, which I'm obsessed with, and this is going to come back soon. This will come back because I have yarn right there that I see. And then I echoed the motif of the 3 stripes on the sleeve and then down to the wrist. So that is what I did, and this is going to be his Guernsey. This is a labor of love. I really enjoyed it. I completely made it up. Don't ask me anything about it because I really didn't even write anything down. I just knit. I wrote some stuff down, but it's not legible enough for me to remember or send to other people. So anyway, but that is that. I do need to put a tag in it. If it doesn't have the tag, he will notice and he will not be happy. But I knit him this Guernsey, and this is what I wanted to do. And it was just a great occasion to knit something that you wanted to knit for somebody. Now, I will say I over-ordered. I ordered 6 cones from Woolyknit. I used their 5 Ply Guernsey Wool in the color navy. This thing took 2. Maybe a little more? No, it took 2. Anyway, so I have enough to make at least one for me, and then more Guernseys. Guernsey? Anyway, the point being is this is not going to be the last one you see, and yeah, I was excited about this. I wish I would have bought less yarn because it would have been cheaper and I would have less in stash, but that's all right. I didn't know. For some reason, I thought it was worsted weight. I don't know why I thought that, because everything was knit on 2.5 millimeter needles. This was knit on a 3.25 because that was as small as I was willing to go. But I don't know what I was thinking. But the moral of the story is this will not be my last one, and you could check it out in the new year. I'll do it when I'm ready. I have some ideas for my own. I want to do it differently. I want to use more specialized techniques and then also update it. This was done very traditionally, especially the body was old methods in Cornish motifs. The only thing is the upper sleeve is a Yorkshire motif, but the rest is construction wise how they would have done it back in the day. I just used a bigger needle size as well, but it's pretty much the same. Anyway, so I knit that as an excuse to make a Guernsey, and this is going to be a Christmas present. And then I knit this, which you have not seen, and I have done it. So this is, I don't really crochet. I used to crochet before I knit, but sorry, I keep on thinking I'm gonna hit my mic. But I know how to crochet, and I've never crocheted a garment, and my mother-in-law has been asking since April for a crochet summer top or a knit summer top, just some sort of summer top. I gave her like 10 options and she picked this, and this is the Florence Tee by Sandra. And it's this cute little like flower granny squarey thing. I made some modifications, and mainly that the sleeves are long. The sleeves are actually supposed to end here maybe, with a slightly different construction, and then have the lace, but she wanted long sleeve. And I figured out, basically, it was all right. It took a couple of tries, but I figured it out. Now, the one problem I'm having with this is I swatched and I got gauge with a slightly larger needle. But I knit this around late October, early November, and let's just say that my tension tightened quite a bit. So this is not as big as it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be the 4th size. It's probably coming out more like a 3rd size, but because it's a cotton merino wool, this is Drops Cotton Merino. Did I mention that? In the color Ecru 1. I do anticipate this expanding and getting bigger. It's much better now that it's blocked. It was so tight beforehand, but this is nice. So these are supposed to be full-length sleeves. They're more like here-ish, mid-elbow. And it will be wide enough. I think I knit this like slightly larger than she suggested, but then I was too tight, so I think it's going to be fine. Also, it's going to grow with time because that's just the nature of the yarn and then crochet and the stitch. So this will get bigger, which is good, but in the meantime, it's sort of this. So this is this. This was a labor of love. It wasn't hard. I just don't really like crocheting that much, and I don't really like crocheting garments, apparently. It's the squares that really got me, and that it was like having to join as you go. Something about that I didn't like. Now I understand why these people that make these granny square blankets are like, I'm done. I was like, why? It's just small squares. But no, I get it. I did only offer patterns that I was willing to crochet or knit. I wasn't like, pick something, I gave her some boundaries. And she chose this one. I thought I was cool with it, but it was a lot more crochet and more time that I wanted to devote towards pattern writing and creation that I didn't get. But there's no way that I could present my brother-in-law with a custom Guernsey without making my mother-in-law this shirt. So I would be kicked out of Christmas and no longer welcome back. So she gets this, and it was dropped, so it was fairly affordable. It was just time. And this is why I don't gift knit, because this is not really my style. It's not really my thing, but for certain people, you make an exception. And I started this, I think I got the yarn in like the summer maybe, and I started this somewhat in the fall and then sort of just cranked it out pretty quickly. But so that's that. It's fine. I think it's pretty. It's definitely not something I'd ever make again, but it's for those people who enjoy this sort of thing. It's great. Anyway, so that is my last gift knit. I didn't do anything else. If anybody else wants some gifts, they're going to have to rummage in the gift bins. I have 2 now, and then take from there. So that's kind of what's happening now. That's it. So that's it for the knitting episode, the Christmas knitting, the test call. Let's talk about what to expect in the future in terms of both projects and in terms of the channel. So in terms of the channel, I think it's going to go back to every 2 weeks. Sometimes I was like every week, sometimes I was every other week. I think I'm pretty much going to do like end of month check-in, mid-month check-in, and that might include a test call or pattern release or this and that and whatever. So that's how I'm going to structure it because it's mostly designs. Now, I'm not really like a big summer knitter, and right now-ish, like January, February is when my summer pattern should be started in order to come out in like April, May-ish. And I was thinking maybe I could do a shawl, but I'm really just like a sweater knitter or like accessories. So what I might end up doing is like test calls over the summer with like long lead times about like garments or something that I've knit. I'm not quite sure, but I do have like a couple summer things in mind. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, during the summer, I think it's going to be like a little slow period for me in terms of design and on this channel, but then fall we'll ramp it up again. So I think that's good because it gets me about 6 months ahead of season now, which means I can plan a little bit better, but I'm not a summer knit person. I'm not a big plant fiber person. I'm not going to make all those cute tees. I don't even really make shawls a lot. So there's that. What do I have going on? I have a lot going on my needles. I just can't show you right now. I have a secret test knit that I can't talk about. So I got yarn for that yesterday and I need to crank that out. I have a sweater on the needles that's intarsia, and that's going to be an intarsia sweater. I think I'm going to give a really long test knit on that, but I want to launch that in August. And then I'm going to also do that intarsia sweater with non-intarsia option that's pieced, and then a also marled option that's pieced, and then non-intarsia and then marled option that's knit bottom up in the round. And the only reason why I'm doing these two different constructions is because I really like the shaping of the sweater, but I don't have to redo the math really. If I knit these two different constructions, the grading is always what gets me. So I will be putting those out later. I have some videos planned and stuff, but I need to get a certain amount of that through before I can even show you, because right now it doesn't look like anything. I have the yarn that I bought in America. I'm going to make like a scarf or two out of those, and I will be releasing those as a free pattern sometime at the beginning of the year. I do have yarn in my stash for a summer project that I've been thinking about for a while, so I will knit that up and do that. And then I think once those two like stash busty projects are done, I will also switch to the second version of the intarsia sweater and the shawl version of this and a couple of other things that I've had in mind. We'll see what happens. All of my plans always change, but there's like stuff in the pipeline and things are going, but yeah, over the summer it's going to be a little slower in terms of that. So I might start like a big project in the summer. I'm not really quite sure, but like some sort of social media project that if I'm not like designing and selling designs like actively, I still have some sort of thread that goes through. And then once fall hits, it's just going to be sweaters, jackets. I have so many things I want to do. We'll see what I get into them. I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be the last episode of this year. In 2024, we will start out with a year in review, which is not going to be everything I knit. I did that last year. It was 2 hours. It was crazy. Also, I don't have everything I knit. I can't talk about everything that I knit. It's just not going to happen. So look forward for that 2024 year in review. And then we'll, I guess, start with regular podcasts again, and hopefully by mid-January I have something to show you all and we can really get into some new designs and some discussions about that, and that's all very exciting. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, all of it. Take care of yourself. You know, Christmas can be a weird time. As somebody who lives on a different continent than my family, like, it's strange. And my mom is feeling some ways about it this year. But yeah, be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. I know it may be difficult. Careful with your boundaries. Be gentle with yourself. eat all the foods, and I will talk to you later. Bye.